So we have this incredible guest with us today. Her name is Hanks-Allaire, and she is the co-founder of Grandmother Collective. As you may know, we often leave behind older women in these important conversations. We think it is the young people who are going to shape the world, but the older women have the wisdom, the experience to shape communities, to build new systems, and also to drive the next generation in the right direction. And she is building a global movement to help older women find their voice as we shape the future. Welcome, Jennifer, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Rupa. I love the topics that everyone is speaking about today, and I really see connection in all the ways in which we want the world to be a better place. That's part of what brought me to grandmother work. Grandmothers and older women, we talk about grandmothers, but we're really talking about older women on the whole, are an abundant and untapped resource in the world for change making and societal good. My co-founder and I, Dr. Lindsay Farrell, engaged in bringing together groups that work around the world with older women as assets instead of needs focused. And we found that they are doing incredible work in places like in areas of mental health, in areas of violence resolution, in communities around girls, and that the ability to engage older women brings out their unique talents in ways that other organizations and other groups in society cannot. One of our founding groups was a group maybe some of you have heard of, Friendship Bench, out of Zimbabwe. Dr. Dixon Chibanda engaged older women as mental health counselors, and this was a time in Zimbabwe where there was a lot of rural mental health challenges, and he looked at different models and said, how can we be providing mental health services for people out in the rural areas? And he found that if you were to train older men or younger people in different ways in mental health counseling, it didn't quite work. But if you trained grandmothers, that they had natural skills and abilities that made them a great asset for their communities. And so with his work and the work of others around the world, we've brought together and found universals. So we were very surprised to find this because, grandmothers people grow up in so many different cultures. Women's journeys are so different in different ways. But universally, older women are considered trusted figures. Universally, older women tend to be politically savvy. They know how to get things done. Universally, older women are culture keepers. And using these types of powers, and there are more, you can design very unique programs. We went and did some pilots with these universals, bringing together grandmothers in Chicago, in the city of Chicago, and in rural Kentucky, in Appalachia, in the US. And we found that these different groups surprisingly have a lot of similar challenges in their communities. And when you brought the grandmothers together, they have great pattern recognition. They know their communities and their cultures. So we could come from the outside not understanding these cultures and being able to say, if we hold this space for the grandmothers and we engage in discussion to help them see and be seen for their universal gifts, that they can become excellent architects of community solutions. So one of the grandmother groups, and I'll give this example and I think you'll appreciate it, in Appalachia, they knew that from their culture that it used to be a very pivotal moment, the 8th grade graduation for young women. And they said, we need to find a way to reinvigorate this traditional 8th grade graduation celebration that we used to have, because back in the day, they would go off and work in the coal mines, their husbands would work in the coal mines, they would get married and start having children after this date. And so the grandmothers were able to resurrect this tradition of 8th grade as a way, as a point to get involved in young women's lives before they go on to high school and continuing on, and be involved in the rites of passage of the young women. So they said, in order to do this, we need to have lunch with them every 2 weeks. But it needs to be in the cafeteria. And we need to do it that way because we need the 7th graders that are 1 grade below to see us. And they will then want to be part of this group go forward. And that's how we'll engage with that school set and continuing on forward. And what I love about this is, A, they're able to pull from their culture, from their cultural traditions, and they were able to think about intervention and how they can be engaged in rites of passage, but also how they could do this in a unique way that's very crafty, knowing how to get things done. And one of the remarkable things about grandmother-led development, as we refer to it, is it's very integrated with the community. And in different ways, it tends to be very cost-effective. And it is not things that, speaking from the US context, that someone from the government in DC could design a program that really works for some of the challenges that the older women see in community. So that's an example of the community work. There is great work that's happening around the world. We pulled together some scholars and humanitarian leaders for a symposium recently, and there's great interest in building on these concepts and reversing some of the stigma of ageism, not just by saying, we are beautiful, we are still young, or this or that, but say there's really unique gifts that women gain as they get older. And as a woman who is not a grandmother, but is somewhere on the continuum, I really want to see a world where we can be looking up to and respecting and honoring the ways in which we grow, and knowing that we will be honored and respected and listened to and seen and heard in the future in all those ways. And at Grandmother Collective, we really look for ways in which everyone can be engaged to their fullest potential. So I encourage you to, if this is of interest to you, there are different places where our work touches everything from human trafficking to mental health, maternal health, community work, and please take a look at our website or follow us on Instagram. Get in touch with me. It's Hanks-Allaire, and we would love to engage in different ways in which older women can be engaged to further social development. Thank you.